And so our bilateral trade with Russia has always been in terms of defense equipment. And that is where perhaps India will also make up for that trade deficit. The Kremlin has come out with its own statement just a couple of days ago. They said that Moscow has no issues with India buying its Russian oil. It's buying its oil from wherever it pleases to do so. It is free to do so. And India has also maintained that whoever will give us affordable oil, we will buy it from there. So it's not just going to be the United States or Venezuela. We're also looking towards forging an FTA in the coming days with Canada. And we can look at increasing our oil and energy need purchases with Canada as well. As far as the United States is concerned, there's also chatter about how India will make a $500 billion worth of investment in oil, energy, even interestingly, automotive parts. And if you're looking at aircraft also, all of that has been included in that $500 billion commitment that India is looking to do so over a period of time. At the same time, important to keep in mind that this is a bilateral trade agreement that is being worked out. It's not a free trade agreement. There's a difference between the two. And even the joint statement that's come in talks about how there will be negotiations which will be hammered out in the days ahead. But as Pallavi and Aman both have been rightly highlighting, the big win over here is that the Indian government has been able to protect the interests of the farmers, as our Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, has been saying repeatedly that our staple products like maize, wheat, rice, certain even dairy and other poultry as well. All of that has been protected. As far as the US products coming into the market, you're talking about nuts, you're talking about wine, spirits. They were always coming into the market. Perhaps you'll just see a greater quantity of them. And so this has been a big breakthrough for India, because remember, we have been seeing how the budget session was on. Opposition members were leaving no stone unturned to actually attack the government by saying that, India has lost its strategic autonomy. We've not been able to protect the interests of the farmers. So all of that has now been laid to rest. So, Kanya.
Right, but Akansha, do you think this could mark a broader recalibration in the US-India ties ahead of deeper trade or defense
Oh,
negotiations?
absolutely, absolutely. Because the current Trump administration has made it amply clear that the way to strategic cooperation is going to be through economic cooperation. They think that if only if you are closely tied in terms of economy can you look at forging deeper defense ties. So as far as our defense purchases are concerned, they've already been rising. And then to bring back attention onto our strategic concerns, because I've always been saying we were supposed to, you will also know that India was supposed to be playing host to the Quad Summit. Nobody knows details of that. Perhaps now we can expect a greater clarity on what will happen to the Quad. Will the summit be happening in India now this year? So India will be playing host, and maybe in the latter half of the year, we can expect that Quad Summit to take place. More importantly, India is also going to be part of Pax Silica, which, as we all know, is a US-led strategic economic cooperation partnership. There are other countries also which are partnering with the United States. You're looking at securing supply chains, also looking towards building on critical minerals. The idea is to also challenge China's dominance. It would be very interesting to see how China is going to look at this deal. And we'll see, because ever since Piyush Goyal made that announcement, in fact, ever since Prime Minister Modi and the US President had that phone call, we've seen how all of Chinese media, particularly their state's mouthpiece, Global Times, has been abuzz with how nitty-gritties are very much in the wake. So it's great that they've come out with this statement where you can see that there's so much clarity on the products that will be covered in the ambit of this bilateral trade agreement. And as far as our defense purchases are concerned, as I said, they've also been on the rise. We'll have to see how far this goes in terms of our strategic cooperation. You can expect that kind of time, time-tested allies, in the sense in the last 2 decades, we've been very close with Washington, and perhaps things can now return to normalcy.
Right. Akansha, stay with us. Now, moving on to Pallavi. Pallavi, speaking of Piyush Goyal's statement, what specific assurances or understandings you think led Washington to roll back the 25% tariff threat on Russian oil imports?
Yeah, I think it's very important to understand that why the Indo-US trade deal actually took such a long time to be, in a sense, completed, and why the joint statement. Because we've been talking about this trade deal for almost over a year, and it has seen lots of highs and lows, lots of saber rattling from both the sides, and much of politics being played out over it inside and outside the parliament, personal attacks on the prime minister. But India, I think, has been extremely patient as far as negotiating this deal is concerned. One thing which was very clear when those negotiations were taking place, and we saw that, when the American negotiators were coming inside Parliament also for that matter, there was a ministerial committee which was set up by the Prime Minister, which consisted of the Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, the Commerce Minister, obviously, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, the Agriculture Minister, and of course the Foreign Minister, which is S. Jaishankar. This is very important because I think what was made very, very clear was the fact that our agricultural sector has to be primarily protected. That is where Americans were making a little bit of a demand that, why not flood the Indian markets with many of us, to use their words, not ours, but use their words, superior American agro products. For example, certain varieties of corn. I mean, American corn, for example, is easily available, but it's not considered to be as nice in taste as, say, the Indian variety is concerned. Certain varieties of rice are concerned, all this and so on and so forth. So I think it was very, very clear that India is not going to be seen as buckling under any kind of pressure. And it's going to go across with Mr. Piyush Goyal's earlier soundbite, where he would often say that we cannot have a gun on our head and negotiate the trade deals. So those are those important factors which have always been kept in mind, and that perhaps explains why it took such a long time. So that way, I would sum up the Indo-US trade deal as a pretty good deal, which benefits both America, because obviously American products, their economy is also not exactly doing very great. So Kanya, they also need newer markets. And India opens up huge markets for them in terms of demands. But on the other hand, as far as Indians are concerned, we have many alternatives. That is what is very important to understand. We've tied up FTAs with EFTA, EU, New Zealand, UK. So we have a much more variety of products available. So Indians can pick and choose which is the best rate for them. And the second important factor, of course, over here would be that, our products, our agro products, gems, jewelry, small sectors, labor-intensive sectors, all of them are protected.
Right, Pallavi, thank you so much for sharing that very crucial input with us and for putting things into perspective. But Pallavi, Aman and Akansha, continue to stay with us as we slip into a very short break. Viewers, you're watching CNN News 18. We'll be back with more stories and updates on this historic US-India trade deal. Stay tuned.